What's up, everybody? I'm back. I haven't been gone. I've been recording videos. I've been having audio issues and file issues, so I haven't been able to upload. So hopefully this goes well. I got a new mic. I got a DJI mic mini to help me with the process, because it kind of sucks recording an hour's worth of content and it's no audio. It happened to me twice. But I got a few hoodies to do and some shirts to do, so I'm gonna do that. But I'm also answering some questions because someone asked me to do a small review about the Epson, and this printer is a good printer. If you can keep up with the daily maintenance, if you're somebody who can keep up with routine and shaking the white ink daily, or get in a routine where you have either workers or someone with you, spouse and or roommate or something, who can come in, shake the white ink once a day, whether it be in the morning or at nighttime. It's got to be done, and run a print head check. It'll be fine. Other thing with it is, you have to have customers. It's like anything else. If you don't have customers, this is not an investment for you. I would stick to getting DTF transfers from anybody out there, like Supercolor or just anybody who sells transfers that you can trust. The reason I say that is because they are affordable and something you can do quick. The quality and the color is kind of hard to beat. The only thing is, some people don't like that papery feel. They don't always feel like that, but it just depends on the settings and how you got it set up. Other thing is ink cost. White ink gets expensive. You're going to be spending over $500 every time you got to get white ink, because there's 2 white inks. Not a big deal, since I've gotten 2 white inks almost every month. But I can keep up with the demand, so I can kind of afford to do it. And I'm not no big company. I don't have, hundreds of orders coming in a day, but I have enough. And that's the other thing with this. If you have a design that is very popular on your website and selling, is DTG the way to go? Possibly, if you have the time to dedicate to it. But if it's a design where you're selling hundreds of pieces, I would almost say go to DTF, because you can get it done quicker. But the flip side to that is, with DTG, if you have a small order and you want to do one-offs for somebody, DTG is something you can play around with. You got a new design you want to test out, I highly recommend it if you got that route. This is more of a, I would say, smaller grade commercial machine. It is not small. It definitely needs a cabinet or something to sit on. You are not, just putting this in a small area. This thing takes up quite a bit of space, by far. So this is not something you're gonna set it and forget it. It's gonna be in your way, if you don't have the space for it. Unless you have an office where you can put it in a corner or in the middle where it's good. The other thing with this machine, like I said, maintenance. Maintenance is key. When I have my issues, small lack of maintenance can mess you up pretty bad. Sorry. I am using a Rochroma Sonic Jet pre-cheat machine. So far, no issues on my second machine. First one showed up DOA. Rochroma took care of it, no issues. I live close enough to them where I can drive a little ways to get it replaced, so it's no big deal. They've dealt with me a few times in the past. Like I said, I've got 2 of their embroidery machines, so far, knock on wood, it's been treating me nice. And that's the other thing. If you get this machine, you have to figure out which way you want to go. Do you want to pre-treat your own stuff you know, and dedicate time to that, or do you want to go? I'm doing hoodies and t-shirts, so you know, I don't see too many pre-treated hoodies out there, so you know, we have to make things work, and that's why we got the machine, because we do, you know, a lot of hoodies. The other thing with that as well is, do you have the space to do it? Can you afford a pre-treat machine? Can you find a used one that works for you? These are all questions only you can answer. Again, do you have the business to support it? If not, go to DTF. If you know, if you want to take a chance and you feel like you are strong enough, or you as a person or individual can grow your business to support a DTG machine and all the things that come with it, do it. Also, you need a laptop. I already had a MacBook, but I bought another laptop just to dedicate to this machine. You know, you need to be able to run the software and to print from it, from this computer, to run the machine. There are flash drives and other options, but computer, laptop, easiest way to do it. If you are in apparel already, you already know you're going to be running around on laptops and computers all day anyways. Keep backups of ink. Like I'm running low on white ink. Like I showed you in the last video, it was running low. Since then, I have printed probably 30 plus shirts, and it's still low in a sense. And I changed it back to the last low set of ink because I didn't want it to suck in air. You know, I don't think that would be an issue, but you know, I'm not trying to find out. I still have 2 packs of white ink, and I am planning on buying 2 more, so that way I don't have to wait, because you don't want any downtime in this business, in this industry. You know that the longer you're down, the less you can work. I have sublimation, I have transfers that we order, we do DTG, and we do embroidery. So we're always got something to do, but I'm not the busiest person in the world. It has not surpassed my main job for me to leave it yet. So my wife does it full time. She travels from state to state to make things happen. So that is a factor, you know, in getting one of these machines. They are not cheap. All right, we're going. All right, so another thing you have to factor in, if you are doing a lot of prints and stuff like that, instead of getting the DTG machine, I would recommend getting Epson's new DTF machine. You're roughly the same price point. Not sure how much the inks cost on that machine. I haven't really looked into it because obviously I just bought this machine. But again, shaker, you know, adhesive, oven, that's another factor you have to add into it. Then you have to deal with the powder. If you are not on a larger scale, you know, to get the 2270, because I know with me and my wife, if we jumped in and didn't get the 2270, we would outgrow the machine like we did embroidery. We outgrew 2 machines within less than a year in embroidery. So I go by the saying, buy once, cry once. Spend a little bit more up front to have that headroom. But if you know you don't have the clientele, or you don't have the headroom, or you want to try with a lower barrier of entry, get the 1070. You know, I have no experience with the 1070, but from what I've seen, it is something where if you have a small retail space, and like they say in all the videos I've seen, put it in the middle of your showroom floor. Somebody comes in, they want a quick print, do it right there in front of them. It might drum up some more business and change your outlook on DTG. It might get, you know, more people in there to order stuff from you just because they can watch the item being made. You know, it's not a gimmick. It is a tactic to get more customers. I say all the time, if I could bring my embroidery machines to the shows, or if this DTG machine was small enough to bring to a show to do stuff right there on the spot for people, I would. Because people will impulsively spend on things that are being made in front of them, not because they too much care about the item that they picked out, because they might not be truly in love, but they might just want to see the process because it's different to them. They don't get to see things being made. So it being made for them and sometimes personalized for them in front of them, you know, makes them want to spend. The other thing with the machine, it does, you know, when it's doing its automatic maintenance by itself, you will hear it in the background clicking and cycling fluid draining into the waste tank. Get used to it. It's not super loud. It's not something that's going to drive you crazy, but it is going to do it. You know, so don't think it's, you know, a quiet machine. You know, it's not going to be whispering in the background. It's going to do what it's got to do, especially if it's somewhere near you. As far as using the machine, not hard to use at all. You follow the steps of the process. If whoever you buy it from, like if it's Equipment Zone, we had DTG connection. They were very helpful. I was already tech savvy with everything else we got going on, so it's kind of more or less them just answering questions that I may have had, or little advanced features that I wanted to try and figure out, which I still have not figured everything out on this machine. You will see as we go, I will be learning things. I will be going through it just like anybody else who gets this machine. That, you know, that's a part of life. It's a part of anything. The other thing I would say with this machine is it's like anything. It's gonna break. Don't know when, don't know how, don't know why, but if it's built, it will break. You know, that's just the thing of life. I work on cars. That's my real job. And there is nothing you can do to stop a car from breaking. As long as you drive it, it will break. Even if it sits still and you don't drive it, it will break from lack of use. So guess what? It goes both ways with this machine. If you don't use it, it will break. If you do use it like you're supposed to, you know, it will break a little less often. I mean, less frequently, but it will break. You know, that is life. You know, no risk, no reward. You know, these machines lasted forever. You know, the F2100 and all the DTG machines beforehand would still, you know, there would be no need to make a new machine. You know, as far as, you know, using the machine, you do have different settings for whatever you do. If you are using it to do DTF transfers, I've only done a few. Not hard to do, but it's not what I am in it for. If I wanted DTF, I would buy a DTF machine, but it is nice to have the feature to make a DTF if I need to. So say if I want to run a little small, you know, left chest design, and I don't want to do DTG over and over again, I will create a little page. Mine came with a kit of, you know, 8.5 by 11 sheets. I would just do it on a little small gang sheet of that. You know, my 3x3 design, and put it on the left chest. Save me time. Print, you know, 6 to 9 of them, however much you can fit on that sheet, and boom, keep it moving. You know, you got to be smart about it. The machine is not slow at all. Compared to what I've seen in the videos between the 2270 and the 1070, it's pretty efficient in my eyes. Is it a commercial grade machine? Like the 30, I think it's the 3070 or the bigger one? Not so much, but it gets the job done for anybody who's small, you know, and trying to grow. As far as settings, like with the Platin, so don't get mistaken, it does have auto leveling for the print head. The Platin does not auto level. You know, so some people may think, oh, you just put it on there and it's going to go up and down by itself. No. So you have, you know, P for, you know, obviously Platin. and then which would be 0. And that's what you're going to use on your DTF transfers. Then you got 1.5 is what DTG Connection recommends for shirts. Hoodies, depends on the thickness, 2 to 2.5. Anything really thick, you got to figure it out. But I'm generally between 1.5 and 2.5 because of the hoodies, t-shirts. So I'm going back and forth. Like I said, I'm doing some hoodies tonight and some t-shirts. So there will be some adjustments. Okay. Overall, expense-wise, it can get expensive. But again, part of my issue was I let it sit for a little bit and it cost me, buying ink to do, because I'm doing heavy flushes. Those heavy flushes demolish your ink. And when you do get the machine, I advise you buy an extra set of white ink, because when you load the machine up, it's gonna suck probably half a pack to load the machine up, and it's gonna go through the processes. And if you are trying to get out the gate running, you don't want to wait on ink. It's like it. Again, if you've been doing this, anything that slows down the process slows down time, creates more time, and slows down your revenue, and you don't want that. Would I say buy this machine? Yes. Are there other options out there? Yes. But it depends on support. What is it like? There are other machines out there that I looked into, which, don't have a lot of support, don't have a lot of backing, or they're made by other companies and they just have a new name on them to make the sale. You could take a chance with a, AliExpress, Alibaba, Chinese brand. Not knocking anything Chinese or anything like that, but you take the risk of no support or figuring out or finding parts. This has an Epson print head. Who knows what print head you're gonna get? I think Roland has their print heads now for their DTF machines. Correct me if I'm wrong. You'll let me know, but you see what I'm getting at. You have X-Tool with their new DTF machine. I'm surprised they haven't done any DTG stuff yet, but with the success of their apparel, the X-Tool apparel machine launch, which I don't think is fully launched, it's just Kickstarter right now, I don't see why they wouldn't risk putting a DTG machine out there. But I am a person who goes with known companies and support, because when this stuff breaks, you want to be able to pick up a phone and call somebody and know that they understand what you're saying and asking and can help you. Because if you buy a machine and you're on your own, you are truly on your own. You have to figure it out. And if you can't, you are out of that money. On the flip side, I am not opposed to buying used. If you find one on Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, online, any of the Facebook pages where people are selling them for cheap, see if you can. I recently saw a 2270 go up for sale. I've seen quite a bit of 2100s go up for sale. A lot of times they need print heads, so that is an upfront cost. Still less than 13 grand. But, I do recommend trying them, because recently I heard that you could purchase them and then have Epson come out and repair them, and they give you like some type of warranty on it, because, they did the repairs, they got it up and running, and they deemed it, good to go. And, that's on the 2100 series. So if you want to get into DTG, but you don't want to spend, you don't want to spend 2270 money, try it. I have a friend of ours that does a lot of DTG printing, and you know, he has 2100s and they run, and he wants to go to the 2270s because he likes the fact that, you know, 800 milliliter ink packs opposed to, I don't know how large they are on the 2100s, I forgot, but you know, he says he has to go to Grimco and buy 6 white ink packs every time he goes. So that's a lot to buy, you know. And let me look it up. 2100 Epson printer capacity. I forgot. I remembered it, but I'm gonna look it up. So 600 milliliters. So 600 opposed to 800. That's 200 extra milliliters you got. A little bit more efficient head and better circulating and cleaning. And so, you know, you got your trade-offs. But at the end of the day, the machine has not done me wrong. It is making me money. If I focus more on certain things, this machine would have paid itself off. Trust me. You know, my embroidery machines have pretty much paid themselves off, you know, time and time again since I've gotten them. You know, we're still thinking of getting bigger machines, like a 6-head machine or bigger, you know, but at the same time, we're being smart about it. We're not trying to grow too fast, because growing too fast could lead to disaster. Another thing I would suggest is put some fillers out there. Go to a apparel place in your area, see if they have a DTG machine, see if they're willing to show you. You know, you don't know until you ask. Worst they're gonna tell you is no. That's the truth, you know. Like they say, how you know you're gonna hit the ball if you never take a swing? You know. At the end of the day, I am no expert on this machine. I'm still learning. Obviously, I have more experience than someone who does not have the machine because they don't have it. So I can only give my personal opinion on this machine. I'm not an expert. I don't go through and measure how much ink per print. And on average, I print 10 and 12-inch designs on the front of shirts or back of hoodies, sometimes up to 17-inch. And at first, I thought I was using a lot of ink, but it wasn't me using a lot of ink. It was me not using the machine enough. So the cleaning cycles burn through the ink. So don't let it sit. Don't let the head get clogged up. Don't, you know, do it. They do offer the extended warranties. I did not purchase one. I have the basic 1-year warranty. We'll see how it goes. I am mechanically inclined, so if something goes wrong, as you see, I don't have a problem jumping in and tackling it and trying to figure it out. If I can't figure it out, I will call in for backup, which is Epson. It's still under warranty, so I won't do too much as far as in this first year tearing it apart, because I am not voiding my warranty unless I'm on the phone with Epson and they ask me to do something. And at that point, you know, it'll be a video, you know, you guys will watch along. So if something goes wrong, I'll be like, hey, refer to my YouTube channel because you guys told me to do this. But as far as me just giving up, that wouldn't happen, because I've torn engines apart, so I'd figure it out. It's just on a smaller scale. cleaner though, in a way. Yeah. Paint versus, oh, well, I won't say paint. Ink versus oil is a big difference. Big difference. I know I'm kind of rambling, but this is not scripted. This is just me going at it, telling you how I feel about the machine. You have to know what you can do. You have to know what you can afford to do and not to do. Like they tell you in stocks, don't spend what you're afraid to lose. So if you're gonna drop $13,000 to $15,000 to get this machine going, because you know, heat press, stand, inks, etc. If you are not prepared to make that investment or take that loan out and make those payments every month, you have to sit down and think about it. You know, so if you're going to be selling shirts, $20 a shirt, $25 a shirt, $40 a shirt, whatever it is, to cover that payment, you need to make sure you can produce those shirts every month. Period. If you have to go B2B, you know, going to your local schools, your local stores, sports teams, you know, coffee shop, private owner, whatever, to produce, you know, business, you need to do it to pay for this machine. It's not gonna get up and print and make money itself. You know, this is like buying a, you know, small car, because it, you know, you don't have to have insurance on it, but you need to use it to make money. Just, you know, just like you start your car up and you go to work if you're working, or go to the grocery store or whatever, you got to put gas in it, got to pay insurance. The shirts and everything you print are your insurance and your gas. They are an expense, but they help you produce the things you need. You know, you have to work with people. If you don't know how to create designs, you know, that's another expense. You have to pay somebody to help you create designs, whether it be on Fiverr, Etsy, you know, Instagram, you know, artists, whatever. You know, you have to do this. You know, no one's going to hold your hand. And if someone is holding your hands, you know, you're going to have a heartache, because that can come to an end abruptly. And then what? My whole thing is be prepared. This is a nice machine. I have had small, minor issues, self-inflicted, but it still runs, which lets you know, not saying be lazy, but if you slack off for a day or two, it's not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to lock up and gum up, unless your humidity is terrible. I live in Florida. The room that I have it in, the humidity is usually right where this machine wants to be. I believe it ranges between 53 and 60%. I'll tell you what it's sitting at right now. I'm sitting at 59 to 60% humidity. That's about where they want you to be. So I'm good with that. You know, and this room doesn't really change much at all. You know, I think when I'm doing this, the heat press kind of helps out. So overall, you know, it is something. Yes, if you can afford it, you have the business, you have the clientele, or you can produce the clientele, or you can get the contracts to keep this machine going every day, every other day, you know, at least 4 days out of the week, printing, you know, 5 to 10 shirts. Have at it. Because that means you can make enough to at least make the payment. If you want to do 100 shirts a week, you can do it. It's going to take you some time, but you can do it. I'm usually up till 11, 12 o'clock at night after I get off of work. After I finish eating everything, I come in here and I do what I got to do. If you're not built like that, DTF is the way to go. Run that thing. You still have to do the same type of maintenance, but run that machine, print your sheets, heat press them on. No pre-treatment, no, multiple presses, no pre-treat machine. But you have the shaker, the powder machine, the oven, all that stuff. So that adds more expense and more in your way. But you can produce more. But with the DTF, you can also do gang sheets if you are smart enough to advertise that, get people to do it. One of the people I know, I asked him about doing work for him or helping him out, and one of the first things he asked me was, do I have a DTF machine? And I let him know I don't have a large DTF machine. I have a DTG machine, the Epson F2270, which can do, DTF, which I told him, it can get you big enough designs to put on a shirt, and you don't have to go crazy. And again, this is somebody I know in my town that, I'm willing to work with. I want to grow my business, and if I have to give away a couple free sheets of DTF prints to gain business, I will, because they came with the machine. It's not really costing me nothing but my time and a little bit of my ink, because it's not going to use that much. So this machine is been a blessing for me, because it lets us test out other things and not have to spend a whole bunch on DTF transfers or the screen print transfers, because when you get those, you got mandatory minimums. I just want to try 5 shirts, small through 2X. And if they sell, I do 5 more shirts. If I buy transfers, I gotta hope they sell. If not, I'm sitting on them, or I'm making the shirts and giving them away, just so I don't lose them. I put them in a bundle deal. At least with these, if I make 5 shirts, if it takes forever to sell those 5 shirts, it's just those 5 shirts that I know to X that design out and move on to the next one. And I took a chance buying this machine because, as y'all know, you scour YouTube and everything else, there's not a lot of real information about this machine out there, period. Besides the big companies telling you all the specs and everything that you can read and get from Epson's website, there's no real use cases. There's people, paid sponsors and stuff like that who've got it. They're paid to be positive about it. I'm not paid to be positive about it. I'm just giving you my personal opinion of what I've been using it for, and so far, like I said, besides that minor hiccup, it's been good. Overall, and I know I keep saying overall, but there's different steps to overall. But I like it. I use it. Doesn't create me any grief when I'm using it. Any mistake that's made, it's usually human error. Whether it be lining it up on the platen, not enough pre-treatment, when I pre-treat, or pulling it off the platen wrong, pressing it wrong. Those are usually human error. But the machine so far has printed flawlessly. Besides when it had the issue with some of the head ports clogging up from sitting. And that's another thing. When you let it sit for like a week or so, there's a mode to put it in. Put it in that mode. But it's been a very good investment to me and my wife. I would say if you are planning on getting the machine, reach out to me, ask me a few more questions, direct questions you may have that I may be able to answer. You know, I like it. I really do. I don't think this is something for a beginner. More or less like saying, no, it's not technical. I'm just saying, as far as starting out a business, I don't think you should jump into a large-scale DTG machine. Jump into the 1070, buy a used one, or stick to DTF transfers. Save yourself some money up front to make money and put profit away, so you have capital to make moves in the future. So that way, if you do decide to buy one of these, you make a conscious decision and you are not struggling and strapped for cash, because you don't want to buy one of these and then be desperate, and then if you finance it, you are stuck, either ruining your credit because you can't make the payment, or trying to figure things out and selling yourself short. So I would say get the business, make sure you have the business to support it, keep the machine well maintained, do it in the daily maintenance, monthly maintenance, and the notified maintenance. And it comes with a chart. It will tell you what to do, when to do. So there's a chart. See, there's your daily maintenance. Agitate white ink packs, which is your shaking. Nozzle check. Print head cleaning cycle. And usually when you do this daily, when you do the nozzle check, it is going to do a print head cleaning automatically right before it does a nozzle check. So you kind of really don't have to worry about, these two go hand in hand. Monthly or weekly is suction cup cleaning. You got to make sure that thing's clean. Agitate the white color, the color packs once a month. Firmware once a month. That, turn on the software, see if it's got an update it, keep it moving. Cleaning around the print head, cleaning around the carriage scale, and replace maintenance pack as needed. And it says long-term storage, change ink and cleaning fluid. So it's not bad. But I'm gonna wrap this part of the video up, saying I can't make the choice for you. I can tell you what my experiences is. Mileage may vary. You can get a good amount of shirts out of the machine if you use it constantly. If you don't, maintenance will eat you alive, because it will use up most of your ink to make sure the machine stays alive. So with that, you make conscious decisions. Like I said, if you have any questions, ask me in the comments and I will address them in further videos. But thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and just let me know. I'll see you in the next video. It's gonna be the same day. It's me gonna be printing these and getting them going.